and welcome to Mike's Tech Reviews. Today we have the Audient ID4 MkII, a premium quality compact audio interface. This is a 2-input, 2-output interface and is the second iteration of Audient's well-known ID4 interface. They've upgraded the components and have improved dynamic range for the input and output converters, among other changes in hardware and software. This interface is compatible with Windows and Apple devices from desktop PCs to laptop and tablets. First, we're going to do a product tour, but before that, I'll show the specs sheet on screen. You can pause the video to read them. I bought this interface for 13,500 pesos and in North America, it's priced around $200 US. Included are Cubase elements, several digital audio workstation plugins, and audio production lessons that you can claim via Audient's website. Okay, let's look at the interface itself. The interface is enclosed in a metal box and is fairly hefty despite being small. At the front and to the left is a JFET instrument 1/4 inch input for your electric guitar and bass. Audient describes the JFET input as adding a bit of warmth and color to the tone of the instrument. To the right of that are two headphone jacks in 3.5mm and 1/4 inch TRS jacks. This allows two listeners to use the interface either for monitoring or listening to PC audio. At the back, we have an XLR and 1/4 inch combi jack for use with your dynamic and condenser mics. Beside that is a 48 volts phantom power button for condenser mics. To the left of that are a pair of balanced TRS outputs for your monitor speakers. To the leftmost is the USB-C port for the interface, power, and data transfer. The interface comes with a USB-C male to USB-C male cable. Audient states that the interface does work if you connect it to a USB-A port with 3.0 capabilities, but to maximize the interface, it is highly recommended to use a USB-C 3.0 port as it provides extra power. This mainly affects the quality of the headphone outputs. Let's proceed to the top of the interface. The prominent feature here is the big multifunction knob. By default, it controls the speaker and headphone volumes at the same time. You cannot set individual volume levels for either. When you press this knob, it lowers the volume of the speakers and headphones by 15 dB. It is useful if someone is trying to talk to you or you're on the phone and want to instantly lower the volume. The knob gives out tactile feedback as you turn it, which helps you quantify adjustments. At the top are two rows of LED meters. By default, this shows the output level. The top row is for the left channel and the bottom row is for the right channel. To the left of the multifunction knob is the monitor mix. This allows you to monitor the mic and instrument inputs while being able to hear audio from your computer. It is useful for recording a track and listening to a backing track at the same time. Now, direct monitoring on the ID4 MkII is not completely zero latency, but it is near zero and it isn't very noticeable. The leftmost knobs on the top are the individual gain knobs for your instrument and mic inputs. The two buttons below are for muting and speaker outputs and the ID button. The ID button activates what Audient calls the scroll control. This turns the main volume knob into a scroll wheel basically. You can use this to control parameters for plugins or meters in your DAW, as well as other functions in other programs or applications. Pressing and holding both the speaker mute and ID buttons enables you to control the panning of the mic and instrument input left and right using the main knob. The LED meter now shows the pan positions for the two inputs. The top is for the mic, the bottom for the instrument. We also have LED indicators for when the 48 volts phantom power is on or off and if the interface is working properly and connected via USB. Installing drivers and software for the ID4 MkII is pretty straightforward. Once installed, the software automatically checks for updated firmware and downloads and installs it as needed. I'll now show you sample recordings with an electric guitar as well as voice recording. Though I've been using this interface to record this video's voiceover from the start. For the guitar recording, I use a Tajima DW55 Telecaster guitar through the ID4 MkII and used Cubase elements to record the signal. I then used an AmpSim on the recording for the second part of the sample. The instrument gain knob was set around the 1230 position to avoid clipping. Here's how it sounds. As for the voice recording, I am using a Behringer SL84C dynamic microphone with the mic gain set at full 10. Dynamic mics in general are gain hungry. I also recorded using Cubase elements. Here's how that sounds. Mic test 1 2. Designed to take your recordings to the next level in every way, the ID4 MkII delivers professional audio performance in a compact and modern desktop package, giving you everything you need to make studio quality recordings at home. Those are some examples of recording through the ID4 MkII. The vocal recording sample did not have any post-processing applied to it except for a slight gain boost. The raw direct signal of the guitar was very full-bodied to me and almost doesn't sound like a typical Telecaster guitar. It is most likely an effect of the JFET input. Whether this is a good sound or not is entirely dependent on the kind of songs you plan to record. Share your thoughts in the comments below if you like the way it affected the guitar sound. As for the voice recording, despite the gain being at full, there were no significant noise that I could hear and it was mostly ambient noise. The ambient noise itself wasn't that loud also in comparison to my recorded voice. Take this with a grain of salt however, as I don't have the proper equipment and know how to properly measure preamp noise. But as for my experience, gear, and use case, it is very quiet. So what do I think of the Audient ID4 MkII? Let's start with the pros. Its small size and portability is perfect for those who record on the go or pairing it with a minimal setup like with a laptop or tablet. It's also great for use on a small desk space. The metal construction means it is durable and rugged. The knobs are also made of metal and the smaller knobs turn very smooth. The main knob has a tactile bump to it as you turn. Speaking of the main knob, being able to use it as a scroll wheel is a great addition and is a useful and relevant tool for recording. Setting up parameters accurately in your DAW is now made easier. The dual headphone jacks are useful in a situation where you are recording vocals and both you and the vocalist want to monitor the signals. This makes it easier to know if any adjustments are needed. The headphone jacks themselves are able to drive up to 600 ohm headphones when it is connected to a USB-C 3.0 port. The LED meters are very useful in monitoring approximate gain levels for input, although they are not as accurate or precise as other interfaces in this price bracket. At least it's there. The JFET instrument input is dependent on personal taste, which is to be expected when it comes to guitar tones. I personally like it and I think that applying AmpSims or effects affect the final sound more than the input jack. The monitor mix knob as well as panning function is very useful during recording. It's not zero latency monitoring, but the delay is so small it's not noticeable. I forgot to mention that it also comes with a Loopback function. It is useful for podcasting and streaming. If you want to know how to set it up, I'll link in the description below the Audient's official guide for the ID4 Loopback function. Now let's look at the cons, which aren't that very many and some are really nitpicky. Only one combi mic or line level input means you're limited to one microphone. Taking its $200 or $13,500 price tag, there are other interfaces on the market that are similarly priced or even less that have two mic or line level inputs in addition to a dedicated instrument input. The ID4 does have a bigger brother in the form of the ID4 MkII, priced at $300 and is not yet available here in the Philippines. The ID4 has two mic or line level inputs, two additional balanced DRS speaker outputs, SPDIF or optical inputs, and other better hardware and software features. Another con for the ID4 is the lack of MIDI in and out, but given its small size, it is understandable. This only matters if you use MIDI devices, but again, considering its price versus other interfaces out there with MIDI in and out, does make you think it should have had one. The ID4 also only comes with a USB-C to USB-C cable, and it's not even a braided one. It would have been better if they also provided a USB-C to USB-A adapter or separate cable too. Personally, I quite like the ID4 MkII, a combination with a dynamic mic and a very high quality mic preamp that introduces very little noise. It is perfect for a noisy recording location. It also pairs very nicely with higher quality dynamic or condenser mics. If I ever decide to buy or use more expensive monitoring headphones, the ID4 MkII will have no problem driving them. So who is the ID4 MkII for? For me, this is for the recording musician or voice actor that requires high quality results. The internal components of this interface are amazing and results in very clean recordings for both its microphone and instrument inputs. Paired with a flat frequency, high dynamic range speaker and headphone outs, it is very conducive to analytical mixing and production. All of this combined will make for a very professional level of audio recording and production. As long as you don't mind the lack of MIDI ins and outs and additional mic line level input, it will more than just satisfy basic recording needs. It also includes downloads for a full licensed Cubase Elements DAW, as well as plugins and lessons in audio recording. These inclusions will jumpstart your audio recording journey as a first timer. In case the ID4 MkII is out of your budget range or does not fit your needs, here are some alternatives that may offer more or are simply more affordable. The MkII M2, priced at around $180 to $250 is a similarly priced interface. Standout features versus the ID4 MkII is that it features two mic, line, or instrument inputs, very accurate gain level monitoring via LCD meters, MIDI in and out, power button, and additional RCA unbalanced outs. It may not deliver the same level of input processing and output quality, but the differences are very small. In the Philippines, it is priced at around 16,000 pesos, but the only local listing I've seen is out of stock, so most likely that's an outdated price. Another alternative is the Scarlett 2i2 3rd Gen, priced at around $170 or 11,000 pesos. These are very well-known interfaces, and before newer rival products were highly recommended for home studio use. Outputs options are a bit sparser compared to the MkII M2, but it has similar input options. A step down from the Scarlett is the Behringer UMC 204 HD, priced around $140 or $150 or around 7,000 pesos. Behringer are known for affordable audio equipment, and recently they've been providing quality products. The UMC 204 HD additionally have RCA outputs, one MIDI in and out, and quarter-inch inserts. Pair this with Behringer's own XM8500 dynamic mic, priced around $35 or 2,500 pesos, and you have a really decent and expandable setup. And even more affordable than that is the Behringer UMC 202 HD, priced around $120 or 5,700 pesos, or possibly even cheaper. If in case you don't need all what the UMC 204 HD offers and would choose to save a bit more money, this is your answer. Now you can allocate it for a better microphone or headphone which this interface can easily handle. That's it for the review of the Audient ID4 MkII audio interface. If you own this product, I'd love to hear your experiences with it and how you use it down in the comments below. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up. If you dislike the video, no worries, you can click the thumbs down button, but I'd also like to read your constructive criticisms in the comments. If you're not subscribed yet and love to see more, please click the subscribe button. And if you want to further support the channel, I have linked in the description below links on how to do just that. Thank you for watching, and until the next video, this has been Mike's Tech Reviews.